Howdy everyone, y'all know who it is, it's me, Yoshi the Pikachu Reacts, and I'm back to Smash Bracket Season 1, Episode 2. Mario vs. Mega Man, and this is a fight that I'm actually interested in seeing, because Mega Man and Mario, well, Mega Man I'm pretty certain is going to win this fight, because it's Mega Man, but if Mario's powers are factored into this, it might end up differently, because Mario's some broken power-ups, like the Tanuki.
What would happen if you took two of the most iconic platforming characters of all time and put them in a battle to determine who would come out on top? Welcome to Smash Bracket, a show dedicated to solving that exact question. If each playable character in the Super Smash Bros. Series was entered into a giant fighting tournament, using them at the peak of their strength, who would be victorious? Before we get into it, let me note, both Mega Man and Mario have been the subject of many versus battles before, with both of them even making an appearance on Screw Attack's famous Death Battle series. My calculations for these characters are likely going to be a bit different than what you're used to, so if you want more information, check the rules on...
Wait, a feat must be demonstrated in order to count. Dramatic outliers in strength need to be backed by their feat's lore or official statements in order to be considered valid. Okay, that means Mario's solar system feat will not be happening. Fights being happening in our own universe, with Earth-centered physics and reality. Power scalings must show measurable strength. Okay, fights can be won via pacification, incapacitation, surrender or death. Well, surrender. Okay, that I don't think these two will surrender at all. Only kind of like materials represented in Smash will take into consideration. Okay, that makes a lot of sense then.
Now, or the video in the description breaking it all down. That's important. But anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's get into the episode to find out who will advance in the Smash bracket and who will be disqualified.
Then again,
if you were to walk up to a random person on the street and ask them to name a video game character, it probably wouldn't take very long for Mario's name to be brought up. And for a good reason. Mario's franchise is the long-time holder of the best-selling franchise of all time title, with over 650 million sales across the series. If each copy of Mario that's been sold formed together and started their own nation, it would be the third most populated country on the planet, doubling the size of the United States. It is impossible for me to overstate just how influential and huge the Mario series is. Heck, it even has its own holiday, March 10th, which is officially designated as Mario Day. Although, I don't blame you if you overlook celebrating it, because it also competes with the much-beloved National Ranch Day, which is also celebrated on March 10th, which sounds like a whole different type of party to me. But as one might guess, at the center of all of this is the character Mario. I mean, talk about a character who truly needs no introduction. This guy has been in over 250 video games and has held a huge variety of roles over the years, from doctor to sports player to Vietnam soldier? Alright, I guess that's a thing. To make things simpler on everyone, we're going to confine Mario in this tournament to the mainline Super Mario platformer games, given that that seems to be the main inspiration for the Mario that we see in Smash. We will take his other spin-off series into account though, such as the sports or the RPG games, but everything needs to agree with the powers and feats demonstrated in the Super Mario games themselves. Well, and Dr. Mario, I guess. Let's start by talking about Mario's strength. He is way stronger than someone might initially guess by looking at him. He's able to throw Bowser like this as if it were nothing. A lot of people overlook this as a feat of strength, but the fantastic Because Science channel that I mentioned in my last video actually did the math and figured out what kind of strength that this would require. To just spin Bowser and hold on at the speed shown in Super Mario 64, that would take 555,000 newtons, which is about 125,000 pounds of force, or about 56,700 kilograms of force. It would be easier for Mario to hold onto a jet engine that's trying to take off than it would be for him to try to maintain his grip on Bowser. The force demonstrated in the scene is theoretically enough to straight up just rip someone's arms off. And he's also able to lift and throw King Babam, who's estimated to weigh around 15,326 kilograms, or about 33,788 pounds. The strength needed to do this actually lines up pretty consistently with the Bowser toss feat, as it's estimated to require about 513,000 newtons of force in order to accomplish something like this. This makes Mario about 950 times stronger than the average human, and this strength actually makes a lot of sense to me, as you can see it displayed throughout his entire series. He regularly shatters bricks and blocks just by punching them or jumping into them, he can shatter this massive crystal with his spin, and he can spin fast enough to send giant creatures flying. And if you still had any illusions that you might be able to kick Mario's butt in a fight, that's strong too. He can actually destroy tanks just by pounding them with his butt. Although, admittedly, it's hard to know whether or not the tanks we see in this scene are comparable to the ones used in the military, making it really difficult to say what this actually means for the strength of his ground pound. Now, I do briefly want to mention a strength feat that's brought up for Mario very frequently in online battle discussions, and this one was even used in his last Death Battle appearance. In this scene, Mario appears to be lifting a castle and then punting it like it's nothing. Just to give some strength comparisons real fast, both of the previous examples have Mario's lifting strength coming in at around 62 tons, which is absolutely insane for a human. This castle feat alone would put Mario's max strength at 61 million tons. This is so far above anything else that he's shown that I really want to take a minute to talk about this critically. Not only does Mario suddenly multiply his strength by a factor of nearly 1 million, but he's also able to lift this entire castle without it collapsing in on its own weight. Not to mention that he kicks it with enough force to launch the castle, but the impact of that kick has absolutely no physical effect on the integrity of the castle either. It's also important to note that this is all part of an ongoing collection of cutscenes where Mario destroys castles that he's just cleared in a fun way. When you mix this all with the fact that the scaling and size of the castle also isn't consistent at all with the castle that Mario adventures in, from where I'm standing, this seems like a major outlier feat that's safe to dismiss as a gag used to have a funny visual representation of clearing a castle. Besides, if you wanted to take these castle demolition feats as actual canon rather than a visual joke, then we should really be talking about Mario's more impressive strength feat in the same montage. The ability to mop so hard that it totally disintegrates the castle of the same size. You can disagree with me if you'd like, but in my opinion, this feat should be dismissed in order to have a battle that's faithful to the character. While we're discussing these castle destruction feats, let's talk durability. There's another clip in the same castle destruction montage where Mario blows up a castle while he's standing right in front of it and is seemingly shaken but not actually damaged from it. We've established that it doesn't make too much sense to take these scenes as canon displays of ability, but in theory, if Mario actually is this powerful, we'd be able to find similar feats elsewhere in the series. When it comes to taking blunt force impact, Mario has shown himself capable of being launched through solid brick walls by a cannon and then shaking it off as if it were nothing. I don't have exact measurements on this, but I think it's safe to say that this is well above what even peak humans are capable of. Speaking of surpassing human limits, Mario has made a small habit out of falling from super tall structures, such as this skyscraper, or more impressively, Bowser's airship. For the sake of simplicity, if we assume that Bowser was flying at typical cruising altitudes of around 30,000 feet in the air, or around 9,100 meters, Mario would be reaching a terminal velocity of nearly 120 miles per hour, or around 190 kilometers per hour. In real life, there have only been about 50 cases of people surviving free falls from this height, and in all of them, the survivors were lucky enough to have something cushion their fall, like snow. This is a luxury that poor Mario just doesn't have here, and he is still able to withstand it. Now, let's talk about some other commonly cited durability feats. For starters, people point to this scene in the opening cinematic of Mario Power Tennis, where Mario survived an explosion that's been calculated to be around 2,400 kilotons. For reference, the bomb dropped on Hiroshima in World War II was around 15 kilotons and looked something like this. To contrast, this is what Mario's explosion would look like. That's 160 times more powerful. That said, despite what the size of this explosion may seem, even at ground zero where the explosion went off, we can still see curtains and a wooden steering wheel still intact. And Mario isn't even there. In my opinion, if we want to treat a feat like this with the same amount of durability required to survive a real explosion of that power, it would need to behave like a real explosion of that power. In other words, this just isn't a good comparison. Not to mention that this entry doesn't even come from the mainline Super Mario games. Similarly, I've heard people draw attention to the black holes present within Super Mario Galaxy. In general, black hole surviving feats within video games should be taken with a grain of salt unless, once again, it actually behaves like a black hole. In reality, a black hole would pull in everything near it, totally destroying it, so we wouldn't see little satellites like this floating around it. But also, despite this definitely being weaker than an actual black hole, it still kills Mario when he falls into it. There's this minigame where Mario characters attempt to swim away from another black hole, but not only does this violate our rule of dismissing multiplayer feats, but once again, it just doesn't behave like a regular black hole. Not to mention that even if we allowed this black hole to be treated as an actual black hole, and we use this minigame to portray his durability, this one instance is so far beyond anything else that Mario has ever shown. Heck, it would be so far above what anything in the universe has ever shown before that I think it would be nearly impossible to quantify. But regardless, that's a non-starter because this feat does not qualify. This brings us to Mario's speed, which is the category with the least feats I was able to find. Death Battle scaled him up to light speed, saying that he could react while moving as a bolt of electricity. But if you look at that clip, it doesn't seem to be what's happening here. Sure, there's definitely electrical properties to whatever form he's in here, but I don't see anything to suggest that this is actual electricity. For starters, we see Mario moving at one velocity, while other bolts of light flash next to him at a much faster speed. If Mario was truly moving at light speed here, then this discrepancy in speed just doesn't make sense. But also, there's literal small birds on screen moving at a faster pace. They also cited him being able to pilot the Star Driver, which is supposedly going at 375 times the speed of sound, but not only is this speed really ambiguous to measure, it also happens in the dream world and not even in the reality of the game's own universe. So where does this leave us with Mario's speed? Well, for starters, he's quick enough with his reactions to dodge this fireball from Bowser. I calculated it to be going around 40 miles per hour or 64 kilometers per hour, but we can be generous and bump that up to the speed of a professional baseball pitcher at just over double that speed. When it comes to Mario's actual running speed, there was a study called The Physics of the Super Mario World that put Mario's max running speed at around 52 kilometers per hour or 32 miles per hour. Not only did he measure the running speed portrayed in the games, but he also accounted for the fact that Mario's planet is a totally different size than Earth and would likely have much stronger gravity. This speed also matches up with what would be required to run vertically up walls for a short distance as seen in his games. Lastly, let's mention Mario's different abilities because he has a lot. First off, he has some classics such as mushrooms that allow him to grow in size, strength, and durability, but he can also fly with a super leaf, throw ice cold enough to freeze people on impact with a penguin suit, consume flowers that allow him to throw fire and ice, and he even has a gold flower that can turn enemies into gold coins upon impact. Mario also has an invincibility star that gives him invincibility and increased speed for a short amount of time. Hitting an enemy while having this star power up is a death sentence for all but the strongest creatures. Also of interest, Mario has a cap that can turn him metal, invincible, and immune to poison for a short amount of time before wearing off. If he wants some backup, Mario can also eat the double cherry, which creates an exact copy of himself to fight by his side. Mario can also use the Super Bell to turn into Cat Mario, increasing his ability to pounce like a cat. Additionally, Mario can also make use of Cappy, a hat that he can throw at an enemy to control their actions so long as they aren't wearing a hat, which unfortunately means it's not going to be a factor in this battle due to Mega Man's helmet. Should Mario find himself dying repeatedly, he also gets access to the Invincibility Leaf, which functions like a permanent invincibility star minus the speed boost. It should be noted, however, that even when Mario is in his invincible state, he's still subject to gravity and can still die from falling into poison water or lava, or else being entirely crushed. From his incredible strengths to his power-ups, Mario is not someone to be underestimated. That said, let's see how he measures up against his opponent, Mega Man.
He's gonna lose.
Capcom's Mega Man franchise came into the world in 1987, one of the most fun but rage-inducing platformers ever made. The franchise has over 50 games and has sold over 36 million copies. Given the success of the franchise, it was no surprise to anyone when Mega Man finally made his appearance in Super Smash Bros. 4. The Mega Man franchise is split up into several different series and several different iterations of the character. Some of the more famous ones being Mega Man X or Mega Man Star Force. But the character that we see actually featured in Smash is the original Mega Man, who originated in that first 1987 game. This version of the character has appeared in 31 different games, but for the purposes of sticking to his main canon as portrayed in Smash, we're going to be confining him to his appearances in Mega Man 1 to 11, and the game Mega Man at base. Mega Man himself is a robot originally named Rock, and created by the scientist Dr. Light and his partner Dr. Wily, in addition to many other so-called Robot Masters. Robot Masters were humanoid machines that were created to help humanity with dangerous tasks, such as cutting timber or overseeing and controlling atomic energy power plants. But when Dr. Wily decided that cutting trees wasn't evil enough, he upgraded 8 of these Robot Masters into machines of destruction to help them take over the world. After seeing this danger, Dr. Light upgraded Rock into a super fighting robot named Mega Man, who set off to defeat Robot Masters and stop Dr. Wily over a dozen times, totaling up to over 100 different Robot Masters defeated. And not only does Mega Man get a good amount of fighting experience from taking out so many Robot Masters, but it also highlights one of his key abilities, his variable weapon system, also known as his weapon copy system. With this, he can copy the special abilities of Robot Masters that he defeats in combat, and after defeating over 100 of these guys, he has a weapon for just about every situation. We would be here all
I'm
day
sure
if I
you
ran through
all
every single
next to
ability
one
one by
another.
one. But here are some of the more notable Robot Master's abilities that he has at his disposal. From Freeze Man, he has the Freeze Cracker that can shoot bullets of ice cold enough to instantly freeze lava. From Time Man, he gains the ability to slow time, whereas Flash Man gives him the ability to stop it altogether. He can use his Concrete Shot from Concrete Man to instantly encase enemies in concrete. He also has the Tundra Storm from Tundra Man, which instantly creates a winter storm around him with enough power to destroy nearly every enemy in the game. Speaking of the ability to destroy enemies, Saturn Man also gives him the ability to fire black holes. Kind of. As we mentioned in the Mario section, black holes in games almost never act like actual black holes, and this is no exception. While it doesn't instantly consume all matter and light around it, it does create an incredibly strong gravitational pull that instantly destroys nearly anything that touches it. There are so many different abilities at his disposal, which provides an insane variety to his fighting style. But his preferred weapon is built right into his arm, his Mega Buster. This arm cannon fires solar energy bullets that are capable of shooting right through most walls. These tiny pellets can also be charged into a more powerful shot. This thing is capable of blasting apart boulders, shattering stone, and breaking apart concrete pillars. It even has enough force behind it to blast someone off balance just by passing next to them. Rock also has a few other tricks up his sleeve, like his Rush Adapter, which lets him fly around without sacrificing speed and boosts his power. He also has the Proto Shield, a tall shield that originally belonged to his brother Proto Man, and is capable of standing up to just about everything in the franchise. If that fails, Mega Man can also access his Double Gear system, which is an upgrade that quadruples his speed and seriously boosts his power for a short amount of time. He also typically carries around a few items on him like his energy tanks and weapon tank, which restores his health and weapon reserves respectively. All of these incredible abilities would be wasted, though, if Mega Man wasn't well equipped to use them. He's fast, strong, intelligent, and durable. Let's start by looking at his superhuman strength. Like I said, Mega Man is incredibly strong. He's able to do more damage with a single kick than he does with a standard Mega Buster shot. That said, by far, his most impressive strength feat is holding up Wily's castles and collapses them.
They're both created
To around 60,000
they want
tons,
themes
or around
like
120 million pounds of force, and all this was before he even had the power gear to augment his strength. Now, while this is obviously a super impressive strength feat that honestly isn't played off as a gag, I think that it's not a good metric to use for Mega Man's striking force, even if it is fair to use for his lifting force. If Mega Man was actually putting this power behind each strike, his kick would do way more damage than we see here. So while his lifting strength is incredible, I think it's safer to estimate his striking strength of being just above his Mega Buster. Mega Man's durability is another thing that's really weird to measure. Surprisingly, despite appearing in so many games, Mega Man actually has very little physical feats demonstrated on screen. Once again, though, I think being crushed by that falling castle is probably his best performance in durability, as we see a ton of pressure put on his system. But we also see him take strikes from Robot Masters, some of which are definitely stronger than Rock himself, including taking charge shots from very similar robots to himself like Bass or Proto Man. Once again, it's hard to know exactly where his durability levels lie at the max, but I think it's safe to assume that it's above what any one Robot Master is able to do in a single strike, which is some pretty impressive stuff. The last statistic that we should really talk about for Mega Man is his speed, which is a much debated topic. Alternative canon sources, like the Mega Man Megamix, say that Quick Man is able to move up to 4 times the speed of light, and so people try to scale Mega Man to that. But this calculation doesn't seem to carry over to the games. We could look at Quick Man's stage in Mega Man 2, where Mega Man is supposedly dodging lasers that are said to move around the speed of light here, but once again, this doesn't hold up to other instances that we see in the same exact game, where Mega Man is hit by lightning attacks that come out in a single frame, and are obviously moving way faster than these lasers. What I ended up doing to calculate Mega Man's max speed is looking at his most recent game, Mega Man 11. In that game, there's a fight with Fuse Man, a robot master made to handle transformers and work with electrical currents. In my knowledge of the series, Fuse Man appears to be traveling faster than any other robot masters in the franchise during his lightning attacks. By using Mega Man's height and scaling him accordingly, we can tell that Fuse Man is moving around the room at around 625 miles per hour, which is just over 1,000 kilometers per hour and is just under the speed of sound. While Mega Man is able to react to these speeds, if we look at his actual movement speed in these scenes, he's moving around 27 miles per hour in base form, which translates to around 108 miles per hour or 174 kilometers per hour when he's using his speed gear. He could very well be faster than this, but I feel like this is the most reliable baseline I was able to find for his maximum movement speed. Between his physical power and huge variety of weapons to pull from, Mega Man is definitely a force to be reckoned with in his own right. With all that said and done though, let's let's get into the match and find out who will advance on to the next round of the Smash Bracket and who will be eliminated. Here we go.
Listen to Chill Hop with your screen locked and study uninterrupted.
I would think Mega Man probably can just power up Mario quickly, but that's your nice power.
It's a goal!
Rock Mario. Hammers. Ice Mario. Fire Mario. Cat Mario. Snap Mario. That's Starflower Mario. And that's Super Mario. He's invincible. There goes the shield. Hammer time. Mega Monkey and Anime for it. And he uses energy effect as well. Ping pong going on? Out. Oh, look at that Galaxy Man. Good night, Mario.
And there you go! Mega Man and Mario were both similarly matched in their speed, physical power, and durability. Even with other rule sets, Mario and Mega Man would scale evenly. In a more grounded series like Smash Bracket, their strength and speed line up nearly identically. At every single level of analysis, this is a super close battle, and it was incredibly hard to call. Both of them are formidable fighters in their own right, and this fight likely wouldn't go the same way every single time it played out. But that being said, I think Mega Man has the upper hand here with his insanely wide arsenal of abilities to pull from. Even if Mario had access to unlimited power-ups, Mega Man just has an answer for every single thing that Mario could throw at him. He even has some of the same abilities that Mario has, and then some. He can match fire with fire, ice with ice, and if Mario were to attempt to use his gold flower to transform Mega Man into coins, Mega Man is more than agile enough to get out of his way. And he also has a good amount of abilities that could turn the attack right back on Mario. Even with Mario's invincibility items, he is still subject to forces like gravity that would act on him from the black hole. And this all goes without mentioning that if Mega Man's castle-lifting feat was an accurate representation of his strength, then he is way stronger than Mario under the rules of this series. But I didn't even factor this feat into the results of the battle. When all is said and done, Mega Man is the winner and will be advancing on to the next round of the Smash Bracket. Next time on the Smash Bracket.
I'm a reasonable, raving, derangeable despot. I'll tell you what, we'll trade like a stock exchange. I'm always ready for action in case something like this goes down. This will give Belly Buster a big old...
Alternate ending where Mario wins.
It's a goal!
Mario wins, man. I wish that was a real outcome. Shame it isn't. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Bye.